It is Monday, January 25th. It's live from Instagram with a mini episode coming at you. This is Mostly Superheroes. Hello, and welcome to Mostly Superheroes. I'm your host, Logan, with you with this mini episode coming at you live on Instagram every Monday at 12 p.m. Central Time. You can join us here in the chat. You can also listen to these where you get your podcasts. Hello, podcast listener. We hope you're enjoying these mini episodes, kind of in between our big premiere episodes we do every single week. A lot happened on the show. One of the biggest reasons I love this episode that we do on these Mondays is just like, it's kind of like a catch up, right? Get you ready for the week. Look at what happened over the weekend. And we got a lot of news that kind of happened. So let's get into it right off the bat. Talk about what has happened since the last time I talked to you guys. Always want to keep you up to date with what's happening on the show. We're doing something new every day in 2021. We have a weekly schedule. It's available for you at mostlysuperheroes.com. We do have a new president. It happened, folks. The inauguration went down. This was last Wednesday. I think I saw in the news, I guess, that the impeachment stuff is still happening. It's a little confusing, being not like this is not a political show, but we want to address what is happening in the real world. Either way, it's a new chapter ahead, so we're excited to embark on the rest of this journey that is the madness that is the United States. We're here with you. And we're going to talk about some fun stuff to distract you maybe from the typical day-to-day nonsense we all hear about. We have a brand new episode right now out where you get your podcasts, of course, on YouTube. We launch those every Thursday each week. And our latest episode is not all about, but mostly about WandaVision. Every time I talk to you guys on Instagram on Monday, I don't have my sounds ready. All right, there it is. I promise. We're going to get this lined up. We're still figuring out the kinks of what sounds do you need for Monday? What sounds do you need for your big show? And we'll get it lined out for you. But this is the live show. You get it as it comes. WandaVision episodes 1 and 2, full deep dive from myself, PC Mike, the Giggler. A lot of fun. We also broke down in that one Iron Man 2. We reviewed it. We rated it. We talked about it. Those are just waiting for you on our website at mostlysuperheroes.com. You go to the watch page. You can watch it. You can subscribe on YouTube. And, of course, all of our content comes out where you get your podcast. So go check that out. We'll give you a preview of things to come at the end of today's mini episode. With that, let's get into some actual news and rumors.
News and rumors.
Man, get this soundboard figured out, Logan. What's going on with this Monday show? All right, so news and rumors. A lot happened over the weekend since last week. Some stuff that even come out today. Just a couple hours old. So we're going to try to keep you apprised of what's happening in the live action film and animation world. First up, let's talk about movie theaters. Hot topic ever since coronavirus sprung us last year. One of the very first things that has been shut down. One of the biggest industries absolutely affected, along with anything travel related, hotels, restaurants, bars. Of course, we know that there's a lot of folks that have been directly impacted by the isolation, the quarantinings, the lockdown. Theaters are absolutely no excuse. I'm an avid movie goer, watcher. Probably could have guessed that from this podcast. And I miss going. Jeremy, Corey, and I, one of our last Logan's Heroes, which you can go listen to or watch on our website, we talked all about this and how we miss going to the movies. You have your ritual for if you're an avid moviegoer. Some good news that came out at comicbook.com. We appreciate you. Comic book. This is from Charlie Ridgely. Came out January 25th. Yeah, today. It came out this morning. Looks like, so there was some news last week that AMC had raised a big chunk of money to help, to prevent them from going bankrupt. Somewhere in the ballpark of $100 million. Well, this news this morning is that AMC has raised now $917 million in funding, and that bankruptcy is now said to be off the table. Coming from the article, CEO and president of AMC, Adam Aron, today the sun is shining on AMC, he says, after securing more than $1 billion of cash between April and November 2020 through equity and debt raises. Along with a modest amount of asset sales, we are proud to announce today that over the past 6 weeks, AMC has raised an additional $917 million capital infusion to bolster and solidify our liquidity and financial position. Really using all of the number and finance lingo there for us. This means that any talk of imminent bankruptcy for AMC is completely off the table. That is a direct quote from the CEO of AMC. I am excited about this. I want to see theaters come back as soon as it's safe and we can make this happen. To see them weathering this storm, one of the things I have found that I definitely miss, other than just general social interaction on a normal basis, is just going to the movies. And it is a weird thing right now to go to a movie theater and like sit in one room for a couple hours. It's just kind of like not the ideal scenario for not trying to see people. I'd love to see AMC stick it out. With the news that's coming out of folks like Warner Brothers and HBO Max going all in on their streaming services and doing these new stream launches, yes, it excites me because, wow, I can watch, Wonder Woman now from my TV. And we're going to talk about Godzilla versus Kong. We're going to talk about that. That looks like that's going to be coming to the streaming service as well, paired with a theater release. Now, it's cool, right? It's cool that you can think about watching these things from your living room. But if you're talking long-term, big picture type of planning, I don't really want to be at home all that much, once we can be out and about again. And it's like if AMC is holding on, they believe that they can weather the storm, kind of makes me feel a little optimistic about the future. So happy to hear about this news on AMC Theaters, guys. Hope you can still weather the storm. And I hope that we can get back to going to the movies really soon. We'll keep you apprised of what we hear in the theater land. Just mention it, Godzilla vs. Kong trailer just dropped. I have to highlight our friends over at the Jock and Nerd podcast. I listen to their show every Monday, and kind of part of my preparation to see all you folks. They're a great source for comic book news, live action stuff. They talk about MCU, DC. They also cover all things film. They just reviewed like Soul. They're talking Godzilla and Kong. They pointed out a few cool things about this I want to explore with you guys, because we're going to talk about this on our big episode this week. We record those every Tuesday. And then we release them on Thursday. Again, if you're curious about when this stuff comes out, there is a schedule at mostlysuperheroes.com. This comes at us from CNN Entertainment. Godzilla vs. Kong trailer gives us the first glimpse of the epic monster showdown. Big thanks to Leanne Corlin over at CNN. The latest offering from Warner Brothers' MonsterVerse franchise hits theaters on March 26th, right around the corner. I mean, holy cow, that's so soon for this trailer to come out. And now it's almost like HBO is leaning into this like 2-month, 3-month hot, heavy promotional instead of like the normal, we get a trailer a year in advance. You kind of wait. It's like, no, just plug it all at once. Straight from the article, it will also be available to stream for a month to HBO Max subscribers in the U.S. Hell yeah, I'm excited. Again, in the short term, absolutely. This is great. I want to watch it from my couch so we can talk about it with you guys. I am pumped for these movies. What it's actually making me do, as you guys know by now with me, if there's a movie coming out that's about other movies, or it's a sequel, or it's part of a trilogy, or it's part of like a long-running storyline, we love the MCU over here. There are a lot of Godzilla films. There's a lot of King Kong films. Looking at the trailer for this, I have seen it. It looks fantastic. It's so much fun. I do recognize some characters from different movies, right? Like I know that the what's the girl's name from Stranger Things? I'll think of it. And if you're in the chat, feel free to give us a line. What's her name? The girl that plays the 11 in Stranger Things. She was in the Godzilla movie Looks like she's back for this one. Speaking of the chat on Instagram, you can always join us. We appreciate you guys showing up for these live shows, 12 o'clock every Monday. That's Central Time. Shout out to Third Dimension Builds for being in the chat today. See you guys in there. We'll always give shout-outs when we can, and feel free to chime in on the conversation. The Jock and Nerd folks kind of broke this down in a way that I thought was really cool. They talked about some of the movies that were out there, and now I'm thinking I got to revisit some of these films. Now, will we do like deep dives on all of them? I don't really know. I think it's just something, if I want to get the most out of this film, I at least got to watch at least the last couple, right? Like the last Godzilla, the last Kong. There's some things here about Kong is all of a sudden like massively big, like as tall as Godzilla. I've never thought that was the case. I've always thought that, he'd be about the size of like maybe up to maybe half the height of Godzilla. Like Godzilla is literally like as big as skyscrapers. King Kong typically is like climbing skyscrapers. So the fact that this fight is happening, I guess he's grown. I know Rug Boy over on Jock and Nerd, he had said like maybe he's grown since the last movie. Either way, we're going to talk more about it on this week's episode of Mostly Superheroes, our big episode with PC Mike and the Giggler. Also, going to give you guys a little tidbit. Haven't put this on our social or anything. It's kind of like insided information. We are having a guest this week. It is Imran from the Jock and Nerd podcast. And, we're excited to have him on. So get ready for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about this movie. What are your thoughts on Godzilla versus Kong? Are you excited for the film? Are you a big avid fan of these movies? Are you a big nerd about it? We would love to hear from you if you know a lot, or even if you don't, you're just excited. Shoot us a line, comment, and write us at mostlysuperheroes.com/contact, and we'll feature you on the show. We have a nice section that we do on our big show called Fan Mail, and we actually open up with the show with that. So we'd love to feature you. Next up, going into the MCU/Marvel/mutant world. All right, this is coming at us from LRM Online. Shout out to you guys. Seth MacDonald over there dropped this article yesterday. Patrick Stewart has a good reason for turning down returning as Professor X in the MCU. Here's the takeaway, folks. Here's the rumor. This is more Rumorville. Let's set a base, first of all. Patrick Stewart plays Professor X in the Bryan Singer X-Men films. He's also kept the role going in some really fun films, Days of Future Past, X-Men, and also Logan with Hugh Jackman. And this is what he had to say in an interview. I don't know if it was with LRM, but they're reporting on this. But he had an interview with Kevin Feige a couple months ago. This is what Patrick Stewart had to say about coming back as Professor X in the MCU. Because, again, mutants are coming. There's already some big theories coming about WandaVision maybe introducing some of these mutants. We know they're coming. They're going to start mixing them in. It's a very big question. It's the biggest question of all, I think, right now in terms of what new characters and how they're going to come. It's all of these mutants that came from the Fox properties. You can't ignore Professor X. He's one of the best of all time. Patrick Stewart is amazing in the role. This is what he said with Kevin Feige about coming back. I met with Kevin Feige a couple months ago, and we had a long conversations. And there have been movies and suggestions which include Charles Xavier. Here's the problem. He says, if we had not made Logan, then yes, I would probably be ready to get into that wheelchair one more time and be Charles Xavier, but Logan changed all that. He talks about the sign-off of the characters, and we know that the Logan film, we haven't talked about it yet on this podcast, which, my namesake, no, it's not, I don't think I was named after that Logan, but I'll tell you right now, I definitely love being connected with this character. He's one of my favorite mutants, if not my favorite, and I love all the Wolverine films, even though they get a little wacky from time to time, and the Logan film especially was an amazing sign-off for somebody that had been watching these movies since they were a young kid. Now, does it excite me to think about these guys coming back in the MCU? Are you kidding me? Yes. Of course I want to see it. So I put this in the Rumorville for now. He says it's not going to happen. Patrick Stewart says probably not. If I know Marvel, anything is possible. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep you apprised. Would you want to see Professor X come back? What format would you even bring this character into the fold? Let us know what you think, and we'll keep you posted. Sticking with the MCU, coming at us from Cinema Blend, we had some news about Thanos, folks, maybe coming back in an MCU feature. What are we talking about here? Like, we had news that Captain America is maybe coming back last week. We talked about that on our episodes. Go back and check that out. We featured at least the rumor. All right, these are rumors for sure. This one coming at us from Cinema Blend, Adam Holmes over there a few days ago, January 22nd. This is straight from the article. Comic book artist and writer Jim Starlin, who created Thanos and cameoed in Avengers Endgame as a member of Steve Rogers' support group. That's cool. So he's in that scene with Anthony Russo and Chris Evans. Said on the latest episode of comicbook.com's Phase Zero podcast that he's heard there are plans for Thanos to present in Eternals, to be present in Eternals, not present. I don't think he's going to be going through slides or anything. But, I mean, just to think about the Eternals here. And when he was asked if he thought it was wise for Marvel Studios to use Thanos some more, this is what he had to say. And again, this is Jim Starlin, who created Thanos. I believe I've heard some rumors that he's coming back in different things. I think I've heard confirmed from Marvel Studios is that he's going to be at least as a guest appearance inside the Eternals, which is coming out later this year. I think November, right? So he's going to be around. This is not anything I'm making up. This is something I've read somewhere. So I don't know. There's some words in there like I believe and I think. So I definitely categorize this in the rumorville. However, that being said, seeing Thanos again on screen in any capacity, whether it's another young version, another multiverse version, I'm excited for it. Certainly rumorville. Would you want to see the Mad Titan come back? Is this something that they should do? Or is this also just buzz? You know, I say it to you guys all the time. You got to take everything, not just comic book news, just everything in your whole life. Take it with a grain of salt. We'll see what actually happens. We'll keep you informed, though, and let you know what we hear. But absolutely let us know if you want to see Thanos back in the MCU, you know, the baddest MCU villain to date. Big shoes to fill with these Phase 4 and on in the MCU in terms of villains. I'm excited to see what we're going to see. And talking about MCU villains, had to highlight this rumor. This is coming at us from MCU Exchange. Real exciting fans. Real exciting for you fans, I should say. Big rumor that Doctor Doom, I'm going to say this wrong because I'm not familiar with the character, but Namor, this is like the Marvel Aquaman. He's the guy that like oversees the seas. And Killmonger. 3 names here will all appear in Black Panther 2. It's a rumor, but I can still hit the clap button if I'm excited, because here's the thing. I have talked about Killmonger coming back in the Black Panther world, whether it's via a multiverse kind of idea. You know, we definitely saw him die right at the end of the MCU, so I don't think there's any chance we get that Killmonger back. And then you're talking about Doctor Doom. I mean, this is going to be, you know, that for me, that's a Fantastic Four world. We have heard rumors that the Fantastic Four film is going to happen. Actually, I think that is confirmed. It's just like there's no details, right? We don't know exactly who's in it, but MCU is going to finally, hopefully, give us the Fantastic Four movie we deserve. That being said, it was said that there might be some kind of war type problem between Namor's sea city. Again, I'm not really well versed. If you know more about this character, let us know. And Wakanda. And that the idea is that maybe Doctor Doom, being kind of like this bad guy behind the scenes, is orchestrating this whole thing. Again, this is rumorville. This is early stages. Definitely want to mention it, though, that it could be on the way. Big thanks to the MCU Exchange. You can check out their website. It's pretty slick. But we'll keep you posted. All right, let's get into what you watching, and then we'll talk about what's coming up this week on Mostly Superheroes.
What you watching?
Okay, just a couple things on what you watching. First up, I haven't even completed the first season yet, but I'm loving it. And I am, of course, if you're seeing the visuals, you already know. We're talking about Dave. This is the Little Dicky Show. I wish they would have called it that, like the Little Dicky Show instead of Dave. You know, that'd been funny. But no, Dave. I think that was very intentional. This is like following. What did the show make me think of? It made me think of kind of Curb Your Enthusiasm, to where like Larry David is playing Larry David, but he's going through like these different circumstances in his own life. But there's also a lot of like, as you get Dave playing himself in this show, but there's also a lot of like glimpses of his childhood. There's things happening with like him trying to make it as a rapper, talking about his first concert. This is something I just don't know yet. PC Mike and the Giggler, I believe, love this show. They've talked about it before. They were blasting on our Instagram saying it's really good. You got to go get over and watch it. Again, I'm only in the first season, which I think that might be it. But it stars Dave Bird, Gata, and Taylor Misiak. It's on FXX and Hulu. Came out in 2020. And it's just here's what I like about it. It's fun. It's easy to watch. It's hilarious. And it's pretty honest and raw. I like that. There's a lot of you think they're going a certain way, TV sitcom, then they turn out to like just kind of address elephants in the room, say things what they are. I think this was, again, very intentional by Lil Dicky. What I don't know is like, are these real stories of his career, of his childhood? I think they are. It's like painting this picture of kind of like how someone like Little Dicky comes into the world and how they act, and it's pretty fun. So I definitely recommend it. We'll keep you posted as we continue to watch the show. I haven't even finished the first season, but we blasted through, at least 6 episodes, I want to say. It's available on Hulu, on FXX. So definitely recommend it. Get over and check it out, and we'll keep you posted on it as we continue to watch it. If we wrap up this first season sometime soon, maybe we'll do like a rating. Do you want to hear about Dave? Are you watching Dave? Give us your thoughts. Tell us what you think is going on in the show, and we'll keep it going. All right, so this is where, today we're definitely doing like the mostly part of mostly superheroes. This is the other side of stuff. We already talked about Dave. Now we're going to talk about something totally different. We're talking about Crack on Netflix. The official title, Crack, Cocaine, Corruption, and Conspiracy, came out just this year, 2021. It's on Netflix. It's an hour and 29 minutes. It's rated TVMA, and it is on Netflix Film. We've been mixing in more of these documentaries. Of course, everyone always watches the next big documentary, right? This is just one that I came across. Like, it was, you're scrolling through Netflix. No one had really told me to watch this. I watched the trailer. Guys, I got to tell you, this is where you got to really have that grain of salt mentality, because this is where I start thinking, okay, this is such a wild, shining the light on the truth situation where I'm like, okay, man, like who made this? It's like, oh my gosh, there's so many cover-ups, and anything that you think you know about the war on drugs, this documentary challenged all of it. I was young during, when the war on drugs really came about and was in the media, coming off of the Reagan administration. Like, I just watched it, so I'm not like, I didn't know about any of this until I watched this documentary. But they talk about the Reagan administration, the war on drugs, getting into the Clinton administration, and also a lot of the headlines that you remember seeing, and how the problem of crack in urban neighborhoods was portrayed. And actually, what this documentary does is it uncovers and sheds some light on the ground roots of the actual problem, where the drugs were coming from, and that people at the top, essentially at the highest level, were in the know about this thing. I'm telling you, it's going to challenge your thoughts, regardless of where you are on any political spectrum. It is going to make you think. It's going to make you wonder, oh my gosh, what is this true? Like, was this big problem that the administration or the media was saying at the time, these people that were saying this was the problem, this is how to fix it, did they actually know that there was another solution to the problem that they wouldn't address because the reward, the risk versus reward for them just wasn't there. That's as much as I'm going to say because I don't know a lot. I'm not that informed other than this documentary, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on the crack epidemic is how it was talked about. But just the war on drugs, when crack came about, I didn't even realize that crack really was just like cocaine, but like in a different form. They talk all about this stuff, how drugs work, how they get in your system. There's some cool science behind it all. I definitely recommend it just for the fact that it's going to challenge the way you think about it. And I'd love to continue a conversation about this. We had a recent we've had some people commenting on our Instagram about this saying, I'm glad that we're talking about this. Oh, I have it right here, actually. Big Podcast 1 on Instagram. That's Big Podcast 1. They said, I saw this also. I thought it was well done. Glad to see more people were talking about this. And that they even had friends in their circle. They shared with us in this comment that they have friends that are still locked up to this day, wrongfully so. And again, I don't want to get too deep into it because I want you to go watch it, and then maybe we keep talking about it. I'll bring it up on with PC Mike and the Giggler. We might explore it more. Definitely recommend it just for the pure sake of challenging your mind, watching something new, something that affected our country in such a robust and dramatic way. I definitely recommend you go see it. Again, it's Crack, Cocaine, Corruption, and Conspiracy, a Netflix film. Go over on Netflix and check it out. Let us know what you think. All right, let's talk about what's coming up on the show. All right, lots coming up. Like I said, doing something new every day. We got live shows, we got podcasts, we got video content, we got it all. It's all for you at mostlysuperheroes.com. Coming up this week, be tomorrow, in terms of recording-wise, WandaVision Episode 3. We're here for it. Gosh, I love this show. Got to nerd out just a little bit. That's my right, is to nerd out about MCU stuff. It's a big reason why we're here, and we're going to be talking about it. We're going to break it open. If you haven't yet, go listen to our review of WandaVision Episodes 1 and 2. Really excited. I already plugged this and tease it out, but we are going to have Imran from Jock and the Nerd on. So if you haven't, they have an episode out right now, the Jock and Nerd podcast, and they talked about WandaVision Episodes 1 and 2, along with a lot of other news from the nation, and they talked about Kong versus Godzilla. Great podcast, one of my favorites. I was actually just on there recently. We talked about Wonder Woman 1984. So we're excited to have Imran on, and we'll be talking about WandaVision Episode 3. We are also going to be talking about Thor, the first one. And that'll be in this episode. Next week, we'll be talking about Captain America First Avenger, essentially rewatching the MCU films while we're watching the new MCU stuff. So we're kind of getting this duality of early films, seeing how they were done, watching it alongside early stuff in Phase 4, and seeing the parallels, trying to get a sense of where the MCU is going. I'm honestly just here for the ride, happy to talk about it, excited to talk about it, and want to hear your theories, want to hear about what you guys think about the new MCU stuff, which is right now just WandaVision, but Falcon Winter Soldier, we got the countdown happening right now. I mean, we're what, 50 days or something? I'm going to have to get like a ticker up or something. Let us know what you think of the MCU. How's it going? I'm having a blast, and we can't wait for you to hear our thoughts on Episode 3 as well as Thor. And then we are in preparation mode for our first ever movie tournament. We're calling it Mostly Madness. Use that hashtag Mostly Madness and start sending us in your top films. We're going to start doing some polling on Twitter. We're going to have categories. It's going to be very bracket-based. We're going to take some pages out of other people out there that have done some stuff, trying to make something unique and new. A lot of thought, a lot of planning going into this, but you can get involved in the conversation now. Use hashtag Mostly Madness to start telling us what you're watching, and it should be up as one of the best movies of all time because these things are going to go head-to-head. It's going to be influenced by the crew, myself, PC Mike the Giggler, and of course you all the fans are going to help us build this thing out. And we're going to tie it right along with March Madness, so we have a nice, easy schedule to follow, but use that hashtag Mostly Madness. And keep an eye on mostlysuperheroes.com for more info. Last update on the show, we are sharing some news with you all in terms of where we're being mentioned on the internet. We've had a really great year in 2020. We're getting some big traction in 2021. We have a whole new press page that's highlighting it. Go over to mostlysuperheroes.com/press. And, of course, the squad page, which is exclusively for you guys that listen. You get a password every single week. This week's password for the mostlysuperheroes.com/squad is Mjolnir. Of course, Thor's hammer would be with a capital M. I got to make sure I spell that one right. I feel like there's a J and an L in there. I always get it wrong, but we will spell it correctly. That's your new password. We'll get that out for you. And we always keep the videos from our live shows. Instagram Mondays here at noon. That's right now. And then Twitch every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central Time. We're live there. We're also mixing in some stuff on Facebook and YouTube. A lot more live content coming at you across all of our channels. But for now, those, check that schedule. We always put the videos up after the fact because we want you to have some, if you're not able to join us live, or maybe you're like, oh, this podcast is fun, but I'd like to see the video. We have video content for 99% of everything we do. We hope you're enjoying the program. Lots to do this week, man. There's so much news and so much MCU stuff coming out, and we're doing something every day. It's hard to keep up with, right? Like just the fact that you got to keep track of all these shows to watch. Well, when is Mostly Superheroes talking about them? Get over to mostlysuperheroes.com. I got it up on the screen right now. We have a schedule. It's going to help you feel grounded. It's a very nice rhythm that I think probably a lot of you follow yourself, like as terms of when do you watch stuff, when do you look up news on it, when do you talk about it, and it's really nice. I think you're going to enjoy it. I'm having a lot of fun interacting with you guys, and we're doing a lot more stuff in the Facebook group chat too. So that's the Mostly Superheroes Squad. Get over and join that. Keep an eye out for our big episodes this week where you get your podcast. And, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as Twitch. Folks, we hope you have a great Monday and a great rest of your week whenever you're listening to this, whenever you're watching it. There's a lot happening in the world, and we're here to distract you, to help you, to just talk about some fun stuff and get us excited for the golden age of content creation with everything happening in the MCU, with everything happening with Star Wars. Even Warner Brothers doubling down on DC. Yeah, did Wonder Woman not look so great? And I'm like kind of questioning where they're going. Yes. But, I mean, we're talking about multiple Batmans, man. I mean, I'm excited. I also heard that the Warner Brothers is talking about doing a Harry Potter TV show. Guys, there's so much to watch. There's so much to figure out when and how and what to do. Mostly Superheroes is here to help. Keep it fun. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Mostly Superheroes. Take it easy.